it's a pleasure for us to have you in the studio for this Children's Day special. Could you say a greeting to our listeners first, Chairman?
Yes, of course. My name is Joon. As introduced, I'm chairing Save the Children Korea right now. But I used to be a Korean diplomat for many years, actually. Wow. And my last posting was in New York City. I represented Korea at the United Nations.
Amazing.
And actually, during my foreign service, I did a lot of things that have to do with the United Nations in global governance.
Wow. So then how did you pivot over to working specifically for children? Was there any aspect of work at the UN that dealt with children as well?
Well, even when I was an ambassador, I already knew Save the Children, which is the oldest, one of the oldest NGOs in the world. Save the Children started in England, in London, in 1919, established by a British woman named Eglantine Jepp.
Yeah.
She established Save the Children when she was actually a school teacher. When she saw when she read reports about the World War I, especially children in Germany and Austria, which were the enemies of UK at that time. But she thought that children, wherever they are, they should be protected because they are the future of humanity. So she started Save the Children movement in London that year.
Wow, so more than 100 years old now, the organization.
That's true. Over the last, for over a century, Save the Children has operated globally, even though we started in UK, it's all over the world by now. And I'm actually sitting on the global board of Save the Children as well, so I know how they are operating globally.
Yeah.
And we have 30 member countries, which means we raise funds in 30 countries, and we are running programs in around 110 countries in the world.
Oh, goodness. Okay. So 30 where you're fundraising and actively established, and then the projects are going on all across the world.
All over the world, mostly in developing countries.
Sure. And I'm sure many of you will know Save the Children. You'll see the logo on Chairman O's badge as well. And these amazing bracelets. Thank you so much for giving me the bracelet. They are beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
Definitely check out the video stream to watch those. And Save the Children Korea, it's also quite big in terms of scale as well.
Yeah, among the 30 member countries of Save the Children International, South Korean Save the Children stands at 8th in terms of the budget size.
That's impressive.
So we are the largest among Asian members.
That is really intriguing because we talk about charitable efforts in Korea, and there are some charities that are more famous globally than in Korea and vice versa, but Save the Children, I think, universally is so well known. And I heard that Korea is also a really special case in that it's a country that shifted from being a recipient of aid after the Korean War to becoming a donor country. Could you explain that a bit more as well?
Yeah, that's true. South Korea is, in a way, unique because over one generation, we have been able to transform ourselves from a recipient country to a donor, not only just for Save the Children, but country as a whole.
Yeah.
We are now a donor country providing a lot of ODA to other developing countries. And that happened only 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So when I was a child, South Korea was, of course, very poor. In the 1960s, South Korea's per capita GDP was below $100,
wow,
when half of the African countries were already over 100. So we have come a long way. And I think in that sense, it should be more meaningful for us to help, developing countries, especially children in developing countries.
Yeah, and I think Korea also is therefore such a role model for many developing countries to see that it's possible, even in a short space of time, to go from a recipient to a donor, and it can inspire like other nations as well. And as you mentioned a little bit earlier, you're not just here for Save the Children Korea, you sit on the board of directors for the association as a whole. So what role do you play there as well?
Well, Save the Children International, as I said, is a congregation of 30 members all over the world, and we at global board we have discussion to shape global strategies, and we discuss all important international campaigns and programs that are run by Save the Children members in the world. So even though we are raising fund individually in all these 30 countries, but we are running programs under the single entity of Save the Children International.
It all comes together there.
That's true.
That's really interesting. And today's title for us as well is Children First, Always Everywhere, which I believe is the slogan, right, of Save the Children. So that, I guess there must be the message behind it. Is it that children, in any circumstance, wherever they may be, should come above everything else?
That's true, because, as you know, children are very vulnerable. They depend on adults, not only for their life, but also for their education, protection, development. So if we do not deal with children properly when they are young, when they are in their formative years, then the future of humanity becomes uncertain. Because that's why Save the Children started 100 years ago. If you have a war, we also have wars going on in our times as well. So if we have wars, then children are the first ones who suffer, who get damaged by the war. And if we leave them alone, if we neglect them, then they do not get proper protection, they do not get proper education, and eventually, when they become adults, they will be very vulnerable. They will be in a very bad shape, and that's gonna affect the future of humanity negatively, for sure.
Yeah. So, it is, of course, very charitable and an honourable effort, but it is also, in a way, a selfish thing to have humanity guided by good individuals from the next generation. We need to help them, right? I wonder, because we're doing this because tomorrow is Children's Day in Korea, 어린이 날. Is there also, because I heard my father-in-law yesterday came to our house and said to my eldest son, who's in middle school, second grade, 13 years old, you're not 어린이 anymore. You're not a child anymore, right? So I'm not going to give you presents anymore. And he was quite disappointed. Is there like an age for Save the Children as an organization? This is the cutoff point for children. Like, is it till 18, or is it like in Korea? I think 어린이 is mostly for elementary students, right?
Well, children, or 어린이, as you said, in Korea we think only those in primary school and below, they are children. But in international law, we have the treaty called Convention on the Rights of Child, CRC, which was adopted in 1989. So according to that convention, children are all human beings below the age of 18.
Okay, that is the set standard, And in Korea, because that word 어린이, I think in the West as well, you would consider people a child until at least 16, but probably 18 as well. It could get confusing depending on cultures. That's very good to clear up. Sherry Russell from Ohio says, children are our future, but are so very vulnerable, so we need to take care of them well. And what a compassionate fella you are, Chairman Oh. I'm so glad I tuned in to today's show. Well, thank you for the comment, Sherry. And we are very lucky to have Chairman Oh here with us. And one time in an interview, you said that most people stop defining us, as in us as a together kind of concept, at the national level. However, the world is already moving beyond those boundaries. So what kind of difference do you think crossing those boundaries makes in the lives of children?
Well, I think at least all of us working in civil society, working with non-governmental NGOs to help, vulnerable people, vulnerable groups in our society, not only children, but sometimes women, sometimes people with disabilities, sometimes migrant workers, all of them are vulnerable groups in our society. So when we are working for them, what is important, in my opinion, is to have kind of, it's kind of identification issue, how, as you say, how we define ourselves. So if we define ourselves narrowly, like, when you think about us versus them, who are us? Sometimes we think us are my family and my relatives, very narrow. But sometimes you think us are people in our community. But sometimes, a lot of times we think that us are, citizens of my country. Because we are living in a nation-state system, which is very powerful. Because states are the most powerful institution humans have created. So we kind of, our identity, our efforts to identify ourselves more broadly are stuck there. It's very difficult to go beyond and consider ourselves as global citizens. So that's what I'm saying. We need to make efforts to expand our identity and our, especially those who are working in civil society.
I think it is, like you said, really difficult to overcome that concept because that's how we've been brought up, especially in Korea. You're brought up to be very patriotic and you're Korean, and that's great for so many things. And in the UK as well, we're proud of our British heritage and whatnot. But if you would think that, I don't know, children undergoing terrible times in war zones were British children, then you would definitely think, I need to do something, I need to act. But we're all part of the human race, right? And children are the future for the whole planet. That's such a good point. Why don't we take a song break here? And we've asked you for a song request, and you've gone for a beautiful song that was released not too long ago, I believe, as well. Why did you choose Eungmu's Joy, Sorrow, A Beautiful Heart?
I like the group, Akdong musicians. Not particularly familiar with this song, but I like their songs.
And when they first came out, I remember they were very young. They must have been maybe quote unquote children, the siblings at the time. And it does fit with today's Children's Day special. So let's play 기쁨, 슬픔, 아름다운 마음, Joy, Sorrow, A Beautiful Heart by Eungmu. Today, joined by Chairman Oh Joon of Save the Children Korea, someone who works at the very forefront to create a world where children are happy. And we're continuing this Children's Day special with Save the Children's slogan, Children First, Always, Everywhere. And in this part 2, we're going to have some photos. So do try to be on the video stream. We've got the app, the website, and also YouTube, ARIRANG RADIO K-pop. And we'll discuss these together. So our first picture, it comes from a visit to a refugee camp in Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh. So this is you at the site, is it? Wow. Could you tell us when and where exactly this was taken then?
Well, believe it or not, Actually, I was singing.
Oh, wow.
And they took the photo.
Okay.
So I will tell you why I was singing.
Nice.
That was, I think, 3 years ago. We went to a place called Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh, where they have a huge refugee camp for Rohingya people. Rohingya people were originally from the Bengal region, which is Bangladesh today.
Yeah.
But they moved to Myanmar, Burma, during British colonial rule, and they stayed there. And then because they are mostly Muslims and most Myanmar people are Buddhist, so inside Myanmar they have often been discriminated, and there was some military operations in Myanmar which were kind of persecuting Rohingyas. So almost half of them fled to Bangladesh about 8 or 9 years ago. And these children who are in the preschool run by Save the Children there, they are mostly 5 or 6 years old, which means that they were born inside the camp. So they never seen the outside world.
Wow.
And because there is no electricity in the camp, the Bangladesh government is not very happy about their presence there either. So they are not providing electricity. So, these children have never seen a television or computer in their life. But they are very happy children, as you can see.
Yeah.
And when I got in there, they started to sing in English.
Wow.
Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping, Brother John?
Wow.
Morning bells are ringing, ding, dang, dong. This song?
Yeah.
This is a very famous song.
And you sang along?
Yeah, no, actually I didn't sing, but they sang for
Yeah.
me. And then I asked them through translation, even though they sang English song, they don't speak English. So I talked to them through translation.
Yeah.
I asked them question like, I'm from a country called Korea. You guys have ever heard about Korea?
Yeah.
And I expected that they would all say yes.
Yeah.
But nobody said yes.
Oh, really? Not one of them?
Nobody ever heard of a country called Korea, not to mention K-pop.
Yes.
Probably because they don't have television and computer. Where can you see that? You know? So I realized that. So I told them, I'm an old man, but when I was young, I also learned the song you just sang. So to prove it, I will sing it to you. So I sang the song.
Back to them.
And I told them, one day you will get out of this camp. You will see the outside world.
Yeah.
There is a big world waiting for you there.
Yeah.
So just be happy, just to study hard and ready yourself for the time when you get out there.
I'm sure those were very inspiring words. And you can even see in this picture, there's no electricity, so there's no artificial light in here.
Yeah.
But it's still amazing. They are going to school. They've created schools within the camp, I'm guessing.
That's true, yeah.
And so people are doing the roles of teachers and whatnot, and even teaching English songs to the children.
Yeah.
Which is, that's hopeful, I suppose, at the same time. So Save the Children, you established this school in this camp. But it's not just here. This is said to be the biggest refugee camp in the world, is it?
Probably one of them, because they have 100 refugees, 1 million refugees. I mean.
1 million refugees
1
in the
million.
camp. So when you go there, the scale, is it huge, like you can't see the end
It's a huge town.
Wow. 1 million people. That's bigger than most towns even, isn't it? Goodness gracious, and without electricity as well. But this is not an issue obviously restricted to Bangladesh. There are children around the world in refugee camps. There are children suffering due to wars or conflicts or discrimination. So what's the scale of the crisis in terms of children in these situations? Are we talking millions upon millions?
Well, according to a lot of data, currently the global population is 8 billion, right?
Yeah.
So we think people under the age of 18, which are children, they are about 2.4 billion people out there.
Yeah.
And out of them, 20% or 1 in 5 children are living in conflict zones, living in countries where there is a conflict or there is a war.
Wow.
So, which means about 500 million children live in conflict zones, and at least close to half of them have problem with problem like starvation. They are not getting proper education.
Yeah.
So these are big issue for the whole world.
Yeah.
And that's why Save the Children is focusing on providing enough food, education, and protection for these children living in conflict zones.
Yeah, as you said, in conflict zones, it's often the children that unfortunately suffer the most, right, in their early years development. But even thinking back to my home country of the UK, where you spent a bit of time and you studied, we were talking about that earlier, the amount of childhood poverty now is increasing, which is kind of crazy to think in one of the richest countries in the world. Does Save the Children do projects in developed countries as well, or is it focusing on places where the real necessity is?
Well, as for Save the Children Korea, our annual budget is around $100 million US, and we spend kind of half of them in developing countries outside Korea, and the other half inside Korea.
Oh, wow.
Because as you pointed out, even these developed economies, they also have child problems.
Yeah.
Different kinds of child problems from developing countries.
Yeah.
For developing countries, child problems have mostly to do with survivor of children. Children need to survive.
Yeah.
They need to get vaccination. They need to get proper food. They need to get protection. So they need to survive. But for developed countries, we have different kinds of child issues like child abuses. Sometimes the children are in broken families.
Yeah.
So they don't get enough protection from parents, in which case society should be providing protection for them.
Yeah.
So that's why we do that. But some Save the Children members, they are only focusing on helping other countries, not their own country. But it depends.
It depends on the member. That's interesting. I mentioned this earlier, but this is the Save the Children bracelet. It comes in a variety of colours. There's a meaning behind this? Is this to just represent that we're helping children?
That's what they call emergency relief bracelet. Because when children are in conflicts, or children are in disaster areas, they need to get protection. So this represents our effort to provide emergency relief for them.
Wow.
The founder of Save the Children, Eglanton Jepp, 100 years ago, she said, every war is a war against children. Because if you think about it, when there is a war, adults compared to children, they have more mobility, they have more leeway in making decisions on whether they should stay home, they should go to shelters, or they should run away. But children totally depends on adults. They cannot make decisions for themselves, So that's why every war is a war against children.
Yeah, that really is true. You can see it in the photo here as well. And if any of our listeners are interested in helping the organization or getting this bracelet, if you make a donation, do you get this bracelet?
Yeah, we give all donors, that bracelet. Yeah.
So yeah, obviously Save the Children, it could be operating in your country. If you search it on the internet, that'll be the way to get in touch with your local branches. In our next photo to take a look at, this is an expectant mother in Laos, is it? So what's happening here?
in Laos, we are running programs to support, children and mothers in terms of their access to, healthcare facilities, because they have regions in Laos where, people are underserviced in terms of healthcare. So we try to fill the gap, and we try to provide. We focus on improving healthcare facilities in that country. So the photo you are looking at is a case where a Save the Children agent is talking to a pregnant mother, and next to her there is another child. Not Laos, but I visited Bangladesh, a place called Rangpur in Bangladesh, very northern part of Bangladesh, and there also we are running healthcare facilities, especially focusing on pregnant mothers, so maternal health care. And, many women there have children, like 5 or 6 children already.
Yes.
I met a woman who was not yet 20, but she had 3 children.
Already.
So, yeah. Wow. So that's why we need to, focus on them.
In developed countries, including the UK, you've got all the infrastructure in place. People are having ultrasounds on a regular basis. And I've had a child both here in Korea and in the UK. I can say in Korea, the level of care is another step above the UK. Like, you have regular ultrasounds on a monthly basis and things like this. For people in certain countries, there is no healthcare infrastructure like that. Right. And I assume as well for Save the Children, it's not like you can give them the same experience as in Korea or the UK, but just at least the basics to help avoid some terrible outcomes that can occur, right?
And in many cases, pregnant women, they think, pregnancy is not something for which you need to go to clinic, because they stay home and they give delivery. Even in Korea, I was born. My mother was a college professor, but so we were not very poor. Yeah. But my mother still gave birth to me and my brothers at home, helped by midwife. So that's what is happening there.
Sure, that's normal, right?
Yeah, but we need to provide them health care. We are trying to promote awareness that when you are pregnant, you need to go to clinic to check if everything is fine, and to get proper nutrition, and also you need to get you can get help from midwife, but midwife should be trained and should be professional.
Not it's not saying that what you're doing is wrong, but just taking precautions to help protect against things that are preventable. This next video that we're going to take a look at as well features a lot of children, and everybody looks like they've got numbers on the front. What are we seeing here? There's yourself as well. Yes, Trevor. So this is a marathon, is it?
Yeah, we call it children's marathon. Even though we call it a marathon, but they are not running 42 kilometers.
I don't think kids would do well, yes.
They're just either walking or running 4 kilometers.
Okay.
So in a way, it's a kind of awareness campaign.
Yeah.
Because every year we devote the program to helping certain groups of children. Like last year, it was children in war and disasters. This year is for children with migration backgrounds. Migration backgrounds meaning, they either themselves or their parents came from other countries. We have a lot of migrant population in our world today. So they need protection, they need assistance.
So raising awareness of that, right? Here in Korea, I think we have more migrants than we realize, in your daily walk around Korea. But I was out in the countryside on the weekend, and there is a lot of migrant labor, actually, right? And maybe migrant children who, even in Korea, can face discrimination. So at this event, people go on a run, and it looks really fun, the video, but they're also learning about like the hardships that migrants can face.
Yeah. Wow. In Korea right now, according to government statistics, there are around close to 3 million people with migration background.
Oh, wow.
Whether they came here as migrant workers or they came here through marriage or whatever reason,
Wow, that's a big number, right? Bigger than you might expect as well. And so for this marathon that takes place every year, you raise money by people who sign up? Are they paying like a participation fee?
Yeah, they pay participation fee like 20,000 won or 30,000 won, depending on the cases, and all the participation fees are used for that particular cause, as I said. Yeah,
I definitely want to take my children to the next event, and it's actually happening this year in May, this month, is it?
In May, we studied in Seoul, actually last Saturday, May 2. And it continues throughout May. I was not able to participate in Seoul Marathon this year, but I will be in Daegu on May 16 for the event there.
Oh, wow. So it takes place not just in one place at one time, but in different
all over
cities.
Korea, yeah.
Oh, that's fabulous then. Okie dokie. We're going to get to our second song break, and then we'll be back for part 3. Any questions or messages to Chairman O from Save the Children Korea, please write them up on the ARIRANG Radio K-pop channel. We're going to listen to Park Hak-gi's Vitamin. It's part 3 today, not for Peters on the Block, but for our Children's Day special. We are so lucky to be speaking with Chairman Joon, who leads the international children's relief organisation Save the Children Korea, under the theme of Children First, Always, Everywhere. Steve from San Francisco says, welcome Chairman O to the show. Ms. Russell saying, very important with those very important pregnancy stats from earlier. Yeah, so many more young mothers in developing countries, right? And even in developed countries, if you go back 100, 200 years, people were having children much younger and having more children as well, but helping them with some kind of protection safety net is so important. You say every little bit of hope helps. Very inspiring words as well. And that's what we hope to put out into the world today, as tomorrow is Children's Day here in Korea. So I understand this year marks your 9th year of leading Save the Children Korea. Do you have a most rewarding moment among all those years so far?
Well, before that, as for the someone from San Francisco talked about how in developing countries they have more children. Even in Korea, when I was a kid, I had 2 younger brothers, and so we were 3 brothers. And adults those days, when they see me, one of their popular question was, how many siblings you have? Which I hated. Because,
oh, really?
Yeah, because I say I have 2 younger brothers. And they always follow question is always, only 3?
Yes, only 3,
only
right?
3. So I said, yeah, only 3. then usually they ask, how come? Like, because my folks, my parents, spent some time in LA and came back. My mother was studying. My father used to be a diplomat also. So if I don't have an answer, they say, oh, because your parents spent some time outside Korea. That's why you have only 3. And later, when I was an adult, I checked our data, and I noticed that in the 1960s, average fertility rate in South Korea was 6.
Wow,
so
average.
Yeah, average home had 6 children. So when they asked how come only 3, made sense.
Absolutely.
So now we have, we have one of the lowest fertility rate in the world.
Yes.
Which is in a way sad and which is worrisome. But as for your question about what kind of a rewarding experience I had, I always think that when I visited our program sites in the world, whether it's Bangladesh, Nepal, we will be in Kenya this year. And whenever I am out there, I always feel that, children are all the same. Wherever they are, we are all part of humanity. Children are all the same. So when Egland Henjap said, children are the future of humanity, I think she's right.
Yeah.
So children are not just waiting for the future.
No.
They are growing up. They are getting education. They are preparing themselves for the future. So if we don't let them prepare themselves properly, then our future of humanity is not very good.
No.
So that's why we should consider this as a common task for present generation.
Yeah, it's not some far-off future as well. It's straight away, right? Kids don't suddenly become the future. They're always becoming the future all the time. Such wise words, Chairman O. We're already coming towards the end of the show, so I have to ask you this question. If our listeners are thinking, okay, I want to help the next generation, I want to help children, if it's through Save the Children, that's great, but even not, what is one easy way that they can start making a difference in their own daily lives, to help the children?
Well, whether you are not, making donation to child organizations or not, we run into children every day.
Yes.
Even though you don't have your own children, we run into children every day.
Yeah.
I think raising kids is by now is a common responsibility of our society.
Yeah.
So everyone needs to play a part in doing that, and especially when we see sometimes children who are not getting enough protection, sometimes who are suffering from child abuses or from malnutrition. There is always something we can do about it, even though it's just a little small step.
Yeah. Right. So if you see those kind of abuses or malnutrition, you need to take a step and not just turn a blind eye, right? Do something about it. Chairman O, thank you so much for being with us today. The listeners have enjoyed it so much. I found it so meaningful as well. How was your experience, and do you have any final words to our listeners?
Well, thank you so much, and it's great to be on your show. I noticed that it's a great show.
Oh, thank you.
And if I have my final word, I just would like to remind everyone that children are the future of humanity.
Yeah, brilliant words to close off on today. Thank you, Chairman O, for coming in from Save the Children Career. The last track of the day will be May Tree, and we'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. KST. Grandpa of Mountains, Han Haraboji. It's been your Daily Dose of Career. #DailyK out. Goodbye.